sorry.
That's okay. That's okay, Sir George. It's a pleasure to introduce this debate today, Mr. Chairman, on Great British Nuclear. Quite simply, the formation of Great British Nuclear, headed up by the interim CEO and brilliant Gwen Parry-Jones, who lives on Anglesey, has given us the best opportunity in 40 years to kickstart a programme of new nuclear power stations in this country. I'd like to remind those members here, if they need reminding, that nuclear is vital to our journey to net zero. It's vital to our drive for energy security, and it is vital to our prosperity as a country, with jobs and opportunity reaching every corner of these islands. In just one technology, nuclear provides energy that's clean, it's reliable, it's affordable, and it's British. It's the only technology that can say that. Common sense and every bit of modelling and evidence from countries right around the world tells us that we need nuclear, operating whatever the weather, to complement technologies like wind and solar, and to wean us off imported fossil fuels. I'll take your intervention.
Lady for Ennismullen for bringing forward. From the very beginning, when the Honourable Lady came to this House, Sir George, her interest in her constituency and in nuclear power has been prominent, and I congratulate her for that. Does the Honourable Lady not agree that the war in Ukraine with the accompanying fuel crisis has underlined the vital importance of nuclear capacity, and that £20 billion for a large-scale plant with additional support for small modular reactors for a plant that helps self-sufficiency for this nation is a price that we must be willing to pay? I've always supported nuclear. Support the Honourable Lady here today.
May I thank the Honourable Member for his intervention. He's a true champion for his constituency and certainly for the nuclear sector, and thank him for his kind words. I absolutely agree with you. We have to invest in this new technology. The time is now. It's important for our net zero. It's important for all those fantastic jobs, and we cannot achieve net zero without it. We need that energy security. Nuclear's record in local communities speaks for itself. High-quality, long-term skilled jobs that are paying wages 2 or 3 times what people are getting outside of that power station. My community and many others around the UK who've had nuclear power know that it delivers good, quality jobs and local investment, and so they want more of it. That, as members may guess, is my particular interest in the debate today. We've made great progress in recent years in nuclear, introducing the new regulated asset-based funding model, investing in Sizewell C, putting money into the Rolls-Royce reactor design. The Chancellor's very welcome announcement that we will green label nuclear, and crowned, of course, by the formation of Great British Nuclear. We even have, for the very first time, our very own nuclear minister. I can attest to the wave of energy and optimism that GPN's formation has given to the industry. And the Minister will know how technology vendors and developers from all over the world have entered the small modular reactor down selection process that GB is running at the moment. Many of them have come to visit Wilver in my constituency of Ynys to see the best site in the UK for further nuclear development. The likes of GE Hitachi, Rolls-Royce and Last Energy have all toured the island. That is what I want to focus on today, how GBN can convert reactor technologies, sites and strong political support from the government into new projects in constituencies like Ynys. Minister, I hope you're listening carefully. If I start with the SMR down selection, we should expand the prize of winning. At the moment, the prize is co-funding to help development the winning technologies up to the point of a final investment decision. This is a good start, but we can go further. The winners should get access to named sites that are suitable for building SMRs, access to a funding model like the regulated asset-based model or contracts for difference to help raise money, and help from GBN to form the actual project companies that will develop, own and operate the nuclear power stations once they're built. The first SMR being built in the Western world at Darlington in Ontario, Canada, followed exactly this model. Ontario Power Generation ran a selection process like we're running now about 5 years ago. And at the start, they were clear. They were clear that whoever won the selection would build them an SMR at the Darlington site, and that they, as Ontario Power Generation, would develop, own and operate the site. So the winners had a site, the winners had an order, and the winners had a project developer and operator. That is the model we should follow, because that is how we give investors enough confidence to put their money into these projects. And I'm delighted that the Energy Bill gives GBN the powers to form subsidiaries and joint ventures with the private sector to do exactly this type of individual project development. And I'd like to hear from the Minister how his department will support GBN in doing just that. But more than that, I'd like to hear from the Minister if he's thought about awarding sites and offering funding modes to the winners to accelerate the process of deployment and to quicken investor interest in the UK. If he needs sites to offer, I have one in mind. The best site for new nuclear in the UK, Wilver. Our need for new nuclear, of course, means that we have to build more large-scale nuclear as well as small-scale nuclear. Large-scale nuclear, often unfairly maligned, has actually had a banner year. All three major Western designs, the EPR, the AP1000, the APR1400, have connected reactors and entered commercial operation. Coincidentally, I think that the owners of those designs have all expressed an interest in the Wilver site. And I'd like to hear from the Minister what more thinking has been done about further large-scale projects after Sizewell C to capitalise on this interest. And if he would set out his thinking on the circumstances under which we will pursue more large-scale nuclear in this country. Of course I will.
Thank the Honourable Lady for giving way and congratulate her on securing this debate on a very important issue that will hopefully help to secure Britain's future energy security. On the issue of Sizewell C, one of the challenges that we found in Suffolk, and I think this will be reflected across the country, is the failure of EDF in this particular case to properly engage with many communities in Suffolk about very legitimate and easily accommodated concerns related to the construction of the plant. And I just wonder what would she suggest to the Minister could be done to make sure that when future nuclear plants are brought forward, that actually we can have a better type of engagement.
The Honourable Member makes an excellent point. One of the reasons why nuclear sites are successful is to have the support of the local community. That is absolutely vital. And we see that with these development consent orders, these for planning, and we've seen that with Wilver, and we've seen that certainly down in Hinckley. It's absolutely vital that the companies engage with the local residents. The Minister will know from the experience of Hinkley Point C nearly 10,000 jobs on site, supporting over 3,000 jobs throughout the construction period, with companies based in Wales, and 815 million is expected to be spent throughout the Welsh supply chain during construction. There are 22,000 people working across the country and more than £5 billion spent across the region. What a prize a large-scale project is for a local community, and I'd ask to pursue large-scale development with equal vigour to SMRs. I know, of course, that there is the issue of money. I'm convinced that the private sector is willing and able to invest in nuclear if they know that the UK government is standing right behind them, and nuclear projects as well. The planning, the regulation, the site access and the funding models on offer are all within his gift, or within the government's gift. So I'm sure he'll see why investors are keen to see ministers stand by projects, as they've done with Sizewell C. And that is my request to him, that GBN is able to offer the Sizewell C model, regulated asset-based funding, a government support package and a 20% government direct stake in the project to the next two projects the government targets to get to FID in the next Parliament and to all future projects. That certainly would be a godsend to investors and give real hope to communities like mine that new projects will get off the ground. I'll end on this note, if I may. We've been talking actively about new nuclear at Wilver on the island for 15 years and more. It has not happened. It's been very difficult for the local community to deal with that disappointment and to still put their confidence in nuclear as a way to create opportunities for the young people on the island. But they still do put their confidence in nuclear. They still do want projects to come with the investment and the jobs that that will bring. They look to me and they look to the Minister and to his colleagues to get it done. I simply ask him to return the faith that they have put in us and help us get new nuclear at Wilver over the line. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much, Sir George. It's an absolute pleasure to serve under your chairmanship today, and my goodness me, an absolute pleasure to be here discussing nuclear with my friend, the Honourable Member for Ynys Môn. The passion that she brings to this debate is unmatched, and the word champion, the term champion, is bandied about a lot in this building, but she genuinely is one of the greatest champions for nuclear, and indeed an incredible champion for her constituency and its interests here in Parliament. It has been ever since she arrived here in late 2019. The Honourable Lady has an impressive track record of championing her constituencies, I've said, to remain at the heart of decisions on the future of nuclear power, the investment that it could bring, and the jobs it could create, both locally and indeed across the United Kingdom. I will continue to encourage Government and Great British Nuclear to engage with communities like hers who are considering whether their land might be suitable for the deployment of nuclear facilities in the near future. The invasion of Ukraine and the subsequent rise in global energy prices have demonstrated the paramount importance of accelerating homegrown power and strengthening our national energy security. And I think the member for Strangford put it better than I ever could when he made the similar contribution during this debate. This is in addition to the significant contribution that nuclear could bring to achieving our net zero objectives. As part of our response, the government has committed to ensuring that the UK is one of the best places in the world to invest in civil nuclear power and is taking the steps to revitalise the UK's nuclear industry. Last year alone, the government made an historic investment of £700 million and became a shareholder in the Sizewell C project in support of our long-standing objective to take a large-scale nuclear project to the point of final investment decision in this Parliament, subject to all relevant approvals. And I do hear that, yes, I was about to reference him, but
I thank the Minister for giving away, but he'll also be aware that the Secretary of State overruled some of the concerns that were picked up as part of the development control process in supporting Sizewell C to go ahead. Now, whilst I think most of us accept the importance of investment in projects like Sizewell C, one of the main concerns that arose from that was the failure of EDF to engage with legitimate concerns across Suffolk and Suffolk's communities in the construction process and the eventual build of Sizewell C. And I just wonder, what reassurance can he give to residents that lessons will be learnt from that?
I thank the honourable member for his contribution. And I would like to maybe give this reassurance in that I made it a priority of mine to visit the Sizewell C site, not just to see the site and meet with EDF and Sizewell C company, but also to hear from and engage with local communities, including those who have got concerns about the Sizewell C project and indeed about the way the consultation exercise was run and engagement with the companies involved. I look forward to continuing my engagement with those individuals and communities who are concerned about this project moving forward and who also have concerns about the vast number of critical national infrastructure projects that will be being built in and around the honourable gentleman's constituency moving forward. Critical pieces of national infrastructure, but in doing so, in delivering this new investment in our grid and this incredible investment at Sizewell C, it is absolutely vital that we take communities with us and that they feel that they have had a say in the process of getting to the final decision on whether or not to proceed. So I give my commitment here today that I will continue to meet with the groups concerned and will do so right up until the point that there are spades in the ground at Sizewell, and indeed, whoever my successor is will do the same. The British Energy Security Strategy set out our ambition for deploying up to 24 gigawatts of nuclear power by 2050, which would be 25% of our projected 2050 electricity demand, including 2 new nuclear projects taking final investment decisions in the next Parliament. We also announced the creation of Great British Nuclear, GBN, which will be an arm's-length responsible body for driving delivery of new nuclear projects backed with the funding that it needs. GBN will be at the heart of a pragmatic approach that will give industry and investors the confidence necessary to deliver projects at pace, reducing costs through learning and replication. Earlier this year, the Powering Up Britain publication set out our plans for GBN to launch a competitive selection process for choosing the best small modular reactor, that's SMR technologies, here in the UK. In April, GBN launched the first phase of this process in the form of a market engagement exercise. The second phase, which is the down selection process, will be launched over the summer with an ambition to assess and decide on the leading technologies by autumn. The government will provide co-funding to be deployed by GBN to support the development of these selected technologies and will work with successful bidders on ensuring the right financing and site arrangements are in place in line with its commitment to progress projects in the next Parliament. The total level of development funding will be subject, obviously, to future spending reviews, and I hear the suggestions from my honourable friend, the member for Innismon, and I will take those back to the GBN board as we move forward. In addition, GBN will work with government on access to potential sites for new nuclear projects to achieve our long-term ambition. This reflects our collective awareness of the growing local and regional interest in a number of sites for further nuclear development. We intend to publish a consultation in 2023 as a first step towards the development of the new national policy statement for nuclear to ensure our approach remains resilient to the needs of achieving net zero. I can assure my right honourable friend that community engagement will be central to the development of projects at each site. Developers will need to work with the host authorities and communities, statutory bodies and other key stakeholders to shape the proposals that would ultimately inform statutory consultation requirements and an application for a development consent order. Further engagement will also be undertaken as part of the wider regulatory processes to be completed prior to the construction and operation of a new power station. The Government recognises the strong interest and support for nuclear power across North Wales. The Government is also aware of the potential of the Wilfa site, which is included in the National Policy Statement for new nuclear power. Looking ahead, both Great British Nuclear and the National Policy Statement team would welcome any conversations with stakeholders who are considering whether their land might be suitable for the deployment of nuclear facilities in the future. And of course, GBN will also support the Government's consideration of further large gigawatt-scale projects to help us deliver on our net zero ambitions. Our commitment to a nuclear programme and to GBN will put the UK on a path to achieving its ambition and to become a global leader in civil nuclear power and SMRs, which could include the creation of high-value jobs and the development of our capabilities. And so I'd like to close by thanking my honourable friend for securing this very important debate, and I look forward to visiting Ynys Môn and continuing to engage with her and other stakeholders in the future.
The question is that this House has considered British nuclear. As many of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.
Thank you. Very good. Cheers, Virginia. I hope that was okay.